At 9, Drew Barrymore's childhood was pretty much gone already. She had been making money since she was a baby, but none of it was put away for when she grew up. Her mom took her to grown-up clubs like Studio 54 when she was just a little toddler. Her dad left the family after getting arrested for drugs. By the time she was 9, she was sipping champagne at parties, and someone on a movie set was offering her drugs. She looked happy in interviews and pictures, but she was figuring out how to get by in a world that treated her like a thing to sell, not a kid. The harm was already there. Drew Barrymore was born on February 22, 1975 in Los Angeles, right in the heart of a famous family name that brought both pride and hurt. Her dad, John Drew Barrymore, was part of the famous Barrymore family, but he was already falling deep into addiction and acting violent. Her mom, Jade, had dreams of being a star that never came true. Still, she held tight to the Barrymore name like it could keep their lives from falling apart. Money was hard to come by from the beginning, and Jade thought the only way to keep the Barrymore name going was to make Drew work before she even knew what work meant. At just 11 days old, Drew was put on the set of Battlestar Galactica in 1978. It was a place with no rules for babies and no real protection. The sets were crazy. Grown-ups rushed around, and Drew was just something to handle. By the time she was 1, her parents had split up after John Drew's drinking got abusive. Jade was now a single mom, but she cared more about chasing her own fame than giving Drew a safe childhood. And that lack of care became the base for everything Drew would go through next. From her very first days in show business, Drew was thrown into the Hollywood world without a second thought. At just 11 days old, she had no clue what was going on around her. Still, she was pulled under bright lights while adults yelled orders and hurried through scenes. Jade saw it as a way to get attention and cash. By age 1, with her parents now separated, Drew's world got even shakier. When she turned 2, she was already shooting a dog food ad and had a speaking part in Suddenly Love in 1978. Those small jobs paid for the life Jade wanted, not the one Drew needed. Nights were spent in grown-up clubs like Studio 54, where Drew, still a toddler, sat around alcohol, smoke, and talks full of Hollywood wildness. Jade saw these places as spots to make connections, bringing Drew along like she was a calling card. There were no strong child protection laws to step in. Drew grew up in rooms full of strangers and stuff she couldn't understand. She learned the feel of grown-up mess long before she learned how to write her name. Her dad's arrest for drugs in 1977 pretty much decided her path. He was already unsteady, but that arrest made him give up any dad duties. By the time Drew was 5, he had walked away from being a parent. That left her with Jade, who was gone a lot and hardly ever put being a mom first. Drew started going to auditions by herself or with people hired just for the day. The loneliness shaped how she saw the world early on. She felt unseen in her own home and had to depend on herself way before any kid should. When addiction grabbed her at 13, it felt normal because the adults around her had shown that way of living from the start. At 14, she legally broke free from her mom, picking independence over a childhood that never felt like one. That choice came from strength, but also from hurts that never healed. By age 3 in 1978, Drew had already gotten a noticeable role on Different Strokes. The pressure off camera was huge. Jade pushed her to say lines she couldn't read, often telling her to smoke cigarettes to look older and stay calm. Drew later said she learned everything by watching others since she couldn't read scripts yet. She didn't get what her lines meant or the stories she was in. She only knew she had to perform or her mom would be upset. These early habits made grown-up ways of dealing with stuff feel normal for a kid who barely knew what they were. Smoking was brought in as something needed for the job, a habit she should pick up to get through long shooting days. It was a mean way to show her Hollywood's rule that kids act like tiny grown-ups. In 1980, when she was only 5, Drew was in Altered States, a movie full of scary mind themes. Her scene had her screaming during a drug-like experiment, and people thought it looked super real. Offset, Drew heard adults talk openly about fear, drugs, and sex. No one tried to protect her from those talks. She took it all in, not sure where acting stopped and real life started. Those long days left her upset, and she carried the confusion long after shooting wrapped. The set turned into a place where she learned to hide feelings and push through pain, a skill that helped her career but hurt her as a kid. At age 6 in 1981, Drew got her first lead role in Bogey, the Goodnight Gorilla. Jade wouldn't hire tutors, so Drew went in and out of regular school, always feeling like she didn't fit in anywhere. Fame made her a target. Kids at school teased her, stayed away, and finally got her into fights. She got kicked out at 7 after one of those fights. And instead of getting help at home, she got annoyance and more push to focus on acting. School, which should have been a safe spot for learning, just reminded her she didn't belong with other kids and had no life outside sets. In 1982, when she was 7, Drew played a kid stuck in parent drama in Irreconcilable Differences. The role hit close to her real life in tough ways. Days went 12 hours or longer, leaving her wiped out and wired. After shooting, Jade threw parties where Drew had to serve drinks to adults like she was part of the fun. She heard talks full of gossip, sex, drugs, and grown-up complaints. She was around adults who treated her like an equal instead of a kid. Those mixed-up lines made it hard for her to know what a normal childhood was supposed to be. By age 8, Drew had already made $100,000 from her roles. That money vanished fast because of bad money handling. Instead of saving for later, Jade spent Drew's cash on shaky ideas, parties, and her own wants. Drew had no clue how much she earned or where it went. She only heard rumors about casting couch stuff and saw adults swap favors for parts. She learned young that Hollywood could be risky for girls with no one watching out for them. Still, she had nobody fighting for her safety. Her money was gone, and the world that took it taught her she was there to be used. When she tried out for E.T. in 1982 at age 7, she went up against thousands of kids and did 18 auditions. Her made-up scream got Steven Spielberg's notice, and she got the part of Gertie. The shooting schedule was crazy hard. Some weeks hit 60 hours, and she often woke up so tired she could hardly stand. Child work laws weren't set up to protect young actors, so breaks were not required. Drew kept going even when she felt dizzy or too much. The movie's hit made her a worldwide star, but off-camera, she was dealing with pressure no kid should have. E.T. came out on June 11, 1982, and Drew became one of the most loved child stars ever. Spielberg gave her a special E.T. puppet, something she loved until Jade secretly sold it for $15,000 to pay for her life. The sale crushed Drew. The puppet was her one reminder of a time when someone saw her for herself, not what she made. Losing it felt like losing her childhood again. After E.T., Drew's pay jumped to $1 million per movie. Fame got stronger and felt like a trap. Fans swarmed her eyewear. Schools had to lock down for safety. She finally quit regular school and did homeschooling, which made her feel even more alone. In interview after interview, she smiled like the pressure wasn't there. Inside, she felt stuck in what the business wanted. Stay cute and perfect. The weight of that perfect look stuck with her for years. The ET stuff, like toys, made millions in money. Drew hardly got any of it. Her money was still handled by adults who liked spending more than saving. Checks later showed big losses from bad investments and quick spending. By 1984, she had almost nothing left from her best kid years. The money betrayal added more pain to a life already full of it. Drew Barrymore was only 9 when she played Charlie, the little girl who could control fire in the 1984 movie Firestarter. The flames around her were real, and one scene hurt her so bad she left the set with second-degree burns on her arms. Doctors fixed her up right there, and she later said the pain was awful. What made it worse was how the adults dealt with it. Someone on the crew told her marijuana would help her chill before hard scenes, and that became her first time trying drugs. She was still a kid, and the mix of fire tricks, pressure, and no real safety left scars that stayed with her forever. Her early fame looked shiny on screen, but behind the camera, she was already stepping into Hollywood's dark parts, at an age when most kids were just getting used to school. That same year, she starred in Irreconcilable Differences, playing a kid who sues her parents for divorce. The story felt way too close to her own life. At the wrap party, someone gave her champagne, and she drank until she passed out. She was 9. The adults around her were surprised, but the moment passed, without anyone really helping. On screen, she looked sure and cute, but off-screen, she was growing up in a storm she didn't get. Fame made her seem strong, but in real life, she had little safety. She was still in headlines for sweet roles while secretly starting alcohol and drugs before she even hit 10. Her life was turning into a slow crash that people wouldn't see until later. In 1985, she was in Cat's Eye, where she played a scared little girl in a horror tale. The troll scenes scared her so much, she had bad dreams for months. Hollywood kept putting her in stuff she wasn't ready for. Paparazzi even took pictures of her in revealing clothes, making a 10-year-old a tabloid story. Those photos went everywhere and put her in a weird light where she was seen more like a grown-up entertainer than a kid. The movie's success couldn't hide the harm done off-set. Her real childhood was fading away amid camera flashes and stories from people who hardly knew her. By the time she filmed See You in the Morning in 1989, she was 14 and already deep in addiction. She was doing cocaine every day during reshoots, and her actions made filming stop when she went to rehab. It was her first big public breakdown, and everyone saw it. Directors covered her issues to keep insurance quiet. She later said she was out of control and losing everything at once, like friends, health, and trust. The movie became a quiet sign of what Hollywood did to kids who were helpful until they weren't. She was trying to act, but really, she was falling apart. Far From Home came out in 1989, too. She had been in 13 movies and made $2 million by age 14. Still, she got blacklisted suddenly. A note from Warner Brothers called her unreliable and big roles vanished fast. She had no option but to take cheap movies just to stay working. The drama followed her into the early 1990s and stuck to her name no matter how she tried to move on. Hollywood had built her fame, and now Hollywood shut her out when she needed help most. Her drop was clearer in 1987 during Babes in Toyland. She was only 12, but she was already spending almost $1,000 a day on cocaine. She passed out on set so much that bosses fired her for a bit and reshot parts. She called it her career death. She had started drinking at 9, smoking weed at 10, and doing cocaine by 12. Her book, Little Girl Lost, told how little help she had and how quick she fell into addiction. Hospital visits became normal. At 13, she went to rehab for the first time and stepped into a life that felt way older than she was. In 1989, she got legally free at 14. She moved to her own place and lived on leftover checks while trying to keep things together. In 1992, while getting ready for Poison Ivy, she tried suicide by overdose. She made it through, took the part anyway, and kept acting even though she was still hurting inside. Her choice to go independent came from the same feelings as in Irreconcilable Differences. She wanted space from a home that never felt safe. Motorama in 1991 was meant to be a new beginning for her at 16. She played a young runaway, and reviewers liked her acting. Still, the movie only opened in 20 theaters and made $10,535. People with money were scared of her rehab past, so it never got to enough viewers. Its cost was about $1.8 million, and most wasn't gotten back. She kept trying for parts, but tabloids kept bringing up her past. Gun Crazy came next in 1992 when she was 17. She played a troubled teen with anger, and the story came from her own hurt. The crew used real guns on set, and the heavy feelings of the part wore her out. After shooting, she fell back into addiction and went to her third rehab. The movie showed at Cannes in May 1992 and hit theaters in January 1993. Reviewers liked her work, but she was too caught up in her own fights to feel good about it. At 18, she did a fun small part in Wayne's World 2 in 1993. People loved seeing her in something light. Behind the scenes, she was fighting bulimia and lost almost 30 pounds. Still, the small part helped her get a main role in Bad Girls in 1994. The movie made $6 million at the box office, even with bad reviews. It showed she could do comedy and tough action without losing her appeal. In 1995, she directed a short movie called Gun Crazy. Around then, she starred in Boys on the Side. She played a woman with HIV and gave one of her most feeling performances. She got close to Whoopi Goldberg, who helped her stay steady and clean. Drew later called her a guardian angel who got her through some tough years. At 20, she played Sugar in Batman Forever in 1995. The movie made $30 million for Warner Brothers, and her small part stood out because of lines she made up on the spot. Around this time, she said no to the lead in Clueless because she wanted to guard her mental health. She knew stepping away was smarter than risking another breakdown. Her biggest chance came when she produced Never Been Kissed. It came out on April 9, 1999, and made $84 million worldwide. She was 24 and had just started Flower Films. She fired the director during making when it wasn't going right. She pushed for truth in the story, even if she made her character too awkward. Studio bosses told her to tone it down. The end showed she was right to follow her gut. Charlie's Angels came next in 2000, and the series ended up making $485 million. Drew was 25 and wanted to do her own stunts. She broke her nose and cracked her tailbone, but kept at it. The hard work and outfits hit her confidence and brought back old doubts. Still, her calm leading helped make the movie a big moment that shaped early 2000s action films. Donnie Darko in 2001 made it because of her. She produced it through Flower Films when money was running out. The cost was $4.5 million, and she skipped a part in X-Men just to help it happen. Nobody on set, out big pay, not even her. But the movie grew into a cult favorite and showed she had a knack for weird stories. She produced 50 First Dates in 2004 with Adam Sandler. It made $198 million worldwide. The tale of lost memory hit her because she had her own blackouts from addiction. She dealt with panic attacks during shooting, but used her real feelings to make her acting better. Fans felt the realness behind her jokes. Music and Lyrics in 2007 was her 50th movie and made $145 million worldwide. She fought for equal pay for her female lead part, which wasn't common then. Her choice helped start talks that got bigger later. She wanted the business to change and used her power to nudge it. She had been famous since she was little, but behind all the shine, there was always some unease in Drew Barrymore. At 34, she didn't just want to act anymore. She wanted to direct. She chose Whip It, a roller derby story with grit and sweat, not love stuff. The $15 million cost came from Flower Films, her company. It wasn't a sure thing, but Drew didn't mind. She worked the script hard, took away the fancy stuff, and kept it rough. She didn't care if it ended happy or neat. She cared if it felt true. Critics liked it. People didn't come. The movie got back only $13 million. It could have shaken her, but it didn't. That miss got her more respect than any hit. It told Hollywood she could direct and wasn't playing safe anymore. That same year, she went all in on Grey Gardens. She gained 40 pounds to play Little Edie Beale. Co-star Jessica Lange watched in shock. Drew didn't back down. She got into Edie's voice. Quirks, breakdowns. The big house set took her over. She was also going through a divorce. It didn't stop her. The acting got her an Emmy nod. The movie got 17 nods, 6 wins. It was messy off-screen and amazing on screen. Her body, her heart, her past. She poured it all into that part. By 38, Drew was trying something new. She started daytime talk with The Drew Barrymore Show in 2013. It only ran 1 season. Views dropped, but she didn't give up beaten. Instead, she switched gears. In 2017, she starred in Santa Clarita Diet on Netflix, a horror comedy about a mom who becomes a zombie. It was silly and funny and very personal. Her character's change matched Drew's own road through staying sober. From 2017 to 2019, the show got a loyal crowd. It wasn't just TV. It was healing with laughs and fake blood. Then came Tulip Fever in 2017. She was 42. The movie had every delay you can think of. Cash issues, script changes, legal problems. Most producers would quit. Drew didn't. She joined rewrites. She cut stuff. She fought to keep it going. But when it came out, it made only $9 million against a $25 million cost. It hurt, but it showed something bigger. She had turned into the producer who stuck in the hard parts, not just the fancy ones. In 2020, when everything closed, Drew went back to Stephen King's world. She played Mother Abigail in the Stand miniseries. Filming during COVID was awful. She pushed for online sets, tests, safety. She showed up calm in the mess. Her part had quiet power, getting praise even if the show got mixed feedback. It had been 36 years since Firestarter, and now she was back, not as a kid with powers, but as a woman holding a broken world steady. Through all the work chaos, her personal life was just as messy. At 19, Drew married Jeremy Thomas after knowing him 6 weeks. It happened at 5:30 in the morning. She wore a white slip and combat boots. The marriage lasted 19 days. She later called it a joke, a green card trick, a mistake from feeling alone after rehab. In 2001, she married Tom Green. It seemed like steady ground, but it wasn't. They split after 9 months. By 2002, it was done. The gossip papers made it big. Drew didn't. She later said she was broken then. Lost, not in love. Still, she had Tom on her talk show in 2020. It was the first talk in 15 years. Then came Will Kopelman. They married on June 2, 2012. 2 daughters came next, Olive in 2014, Frankie in 2016. This one felt true. It lasted almost 4 years, but by 2016, they divorced. She wanted L.A. He wanted New York. There were no fights over kids, no yelling, just 2 people drifting apart. But it hurt more than anything. She once said it felt like her dream family was falling apart in her hands. In 2023, things got tougher. Leaked papers showed a hard custody fight. Some said she was unstable. That same year, she shared in parts of her 2025 memoir that she got diagnosed with bipolar disorder at 48. It changed everything. Her show took a short break while she worked on her mental health. People were surprised, but then things shifted. Viewers paid more attention. Her talks about parenting got deeper. She told everyone she took her daughters' phones away to help them chill. That sometimes she cried in the bathroom just to feel normal again. Being a mom wasn't extra for her. It was her guide. She brought her kids on set. She voiced Arthur Christmas in 2011 with them close. In 2025, she started the Magic School Bus reboot. The same year she turned 50 in life and sobriety. She talked about being tired, scared, strong, and the childhood she never got, but wanted for them. When she said she needed self-care, she meant stopping everything if it helped her kids breathe better. That same year, the Drew Barrymore show returned stronger and realer. It got 1.45 million viewers per episode in its first full season. Mental health wasn't just a part anymore. It was the base. Drew talked openly about depression, addiction, parenting stress. She spoke up during the 2025 Hollywood strikes, backing writers. She brought in Harvard teachers. She had therapists on. The show wasn't light fluff. It became a safe spot for people who felt invisible. Then she did something surprising. In 2025, Netflix showed The Memoirs of Margaret, a spin-off of Everybody Loves Raymond. Drew didn't just produce it, she helped make its heart. She linked it to her own family past, her grandma's fight with Alzheimer's. The first episode hit hard with a speech about memory and loss. It wasn't just old TV vibes. It was her story hidden in another's. In 2023, she was also behind No Hard Feelings, the comedy that made $86 million worldwide. Jennifer Lawrence starred. Drew produced. It was bold, risky, and no apologies. She fought to keep it rated R, and it paid off. Critics loved it. She got her first Oscar nod as producer. Flower Films took a 30% share of money. It was her biggest producing win so far. And then she gave the cash away. In 2024, she gave $10 million through the Flower Films Foundation to addiction help programs. A lot came from E.T. leftovers. That was the twist. The movie that made her a child star was now helping thousands get clean. Her 2025 documentary, Drew, Unfiltered, showed she was done hiding. Her foundation helped over 1,200 people that year alone. It was the most personal comeback ever. By 2025, Drew Barrymore's net worth reached $125 million. That year, she started the Blended Families Memoir Tour. It sold out fast, 35 cities, thousands of fans. She guided younger stars like Millie Bobby Brown, not with quick tips, but with long calls, real talk. At 50, she wasn't running after fame. She was making something else, a guide for how to mess up and stand back up without feeling ashamed.